but I think I've had...
See, he cut Danny off as he was saying how much he loved me.
Yeah, because no one wants to hear that, Matt. Absolutely no one wants to hear that. People would rather listen to Avril repeat how Proper should be MVP than about how you're one on the desk by Danny. Sorry, mate, that's just the way it goes.
I woke up today to just everybody talking about the MVP, which is great. But I was like, we saw
Isn't
games
it fun?
play.
It's a good time.
There's other things going on in the world. It's like, let's just... It's gonna like calm down on the MVP thing.
Oh, it's a good time, Matt, to be an Overwatch fan, and obviously a good time to be joining us here at the Overwatch League. It's our last weekend of the Countdown Cup qualifiers, and there are still implications in terms of playoffs and play-ins in these upcoming matches. It's the New York Excelsior taking on the London Spitfire. Matt, New York, who really impressed us last week. Another classic Yaki performance. They took it to the very limit against the Los Angeles Gladiators. But for the Spitfire, a win here solidifies them in the top 6. So plenty to play for here for London.
Yeah, New York in this match is really just playing spoiler, right? They are, deep down near the bottom of the standings. They can't get out. We'll see kind of if they're able to play that spoiler. No surprise in terms of the roster that'll be here for New York today. And I think if you're London, right, I believe their next match would be against San Francisco Shock. Like, if you need one of those wins, like this is the match to get it in, right? Although you did see a little bit in the pregame on Watchpoint, Noah putting Yaki in his top 5 tracers. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition today. Yeah, fair enough.
You saw the stat card, right? 48% pulse bomb attach rate coming into this week, which is tied for third in the league, but the solo kills. Yaki is the #1 solo killer on Tracer coming into this week. Now, that speaks so much about this player because we have
I wonder if we asked Kellen how he feels about those solo kills.
I mean, yeah, sure. We have typecast Yaki as very much a solo-oriented player. He's not selfish necessarily, but he just does what he feels has to be done in so many of these situations. The reality is that that's probably true, and so often it's just not enough. So New York need to find more than just Yaki to step up. If Yaki and Flora both have an incredible day, then this team is looking pretty darn scary.
Sometimes it is enough because the rest of the team is pretty talented. I think they just have a really difficult time just keeping track of, what the next play is going to be from Yaki and how they can best support him, right? Plays a little bit of a different style than a lot of other players in the league. The team trying to catch up with him at times. Sometimes we see, right, he'll pull out a blade in like a 1v3 and the rest of the team just kind of like, wait, we're fighting this? Where I think, maybe a little bit more streamlined approach, you would have saw more success from this team throughout the year.
Let's have a look at the other side of the table here as the London Spitfire are locked and loaded and they're playing for that top 6 spot in the Western region. If they win, this also means Toronto will have to compete in the play-ins next week. They're going to get knocked out of that top 6 because London has a better win percentage tiebreaker. If London loses this game, and it may happen, they still have a chance to get into that top 6. It just changes the calculus a little bit more. Hardy's in the starting lineup, though. A lot of people expecting to see Poco in here, and he was kind of highlighted in the pre-show, Matt, just because we know how freakishly powerful Zarya is at the moment.
It's a dangerous look, though, from London. And you have everybody in the dark, DGen gamer rooms here, playing
always to be feared.
Yep, yeah, you gotta always fear that they're locked in here. Outside of Backbone, it looks like he's just playing in a nicely lit area, but no Poco today. The desk was kind of talking about maybe we see Poco with some kind of Zarya-based competitions, and we might, right? If you're playing the game on live right now, you can tell Zarya is pretty effective in a lot of your games, where maybe that's a strategy we see a little bit later in the year from London.
But I will say that this does tell us that it's quite possible these two teams go for very different approaches. Kellen Zarya was extremely impactful in the Excelsior's last outing there. Hardy, though, has been a player that's not necessarily shown an overwhelming preference to pick up the Zarya, and that's kind of why we've been talking already about their Poco, despite not seeing him in the starting lineup. So keep that in the back of your mind. But that begs the question, what is it that the Spitfire are actually going to play?
Right, because you don't have Khan in, so you're not really looking at Zen-based compositions, right? You're probably looking at something like Ana Lucio potentially here for the London Spitfire. Or maybe they actually want to see, if Hadi can even play the Zarya or play something to kind of counter it. Give yourself a little bit of a chance here.
Cannot wait to see the lock-ins here for the London Spitfire. Busan being our first map in this series. New York, obviously, Looking back over the season, maybe less than fondly at times, they've definitely had high times and sort of peak moments. It's the consistency that's constantly eluded them. Now, London here seeing this lineup, I'm not surprised to see the Baptiste, right? A lot of teams, we sort of saw this in the matchup in Dallas as well, as that team's definitely preferring the Lucio Baptiste when they can get it to work with the Zarya. And yeah, maybe Hardy's just ready to come out here on the Zarya himself.
I mean, look, you have some maps to play with New York here. You think you're the favorite. Looks like a change here. It's Hardy potentially bringing out the Reinhardt. So a little bit of a Reinhardt rush kind of variation here from the London Spitfire. Instead of playing, you're also going to have a Baptiste Lucio versus the Baptiste Zen. You don't really need the Zen extra damage here. You definitely need the Lucio, and then I think the Immortality field. And even the damage that Baptiste can put out now is just really impactful.
All right, so big difference in team compositions. The Excelsior give up that mobility in favor of Discord Orb and a bit of extra damage on top. Zen very scary at the moment. Here comes Hardy onto the point, so he'll step up here and begin the cap. Just beckoning the Excelsior to come forward and try and take it out of his hands.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. They can't get that Discord on him for long, so can't really kind of get in there and burn him down. Trying to figure out how you can work around this. Sparker finds a kill on the outside.
Yeah, there's definitely other people getting involved in that elimination there. Matt Sparker, there's like a 30 charge rail that was able to find the kill. And now he's able to wrap around and continue to apply this pressure. He's garnered the attention of Kellen even, which is a great sign for London, who've been able to pull that Zarya away from the front line.
Yeah, and the thing with the Zarya is, like, you just need to get the bubbles out, right? So if Backbone can get into the back line, get a hack on the Zen or, you know, the Baptiste and force out some of those bubbles, yeah, you're in a really difficult spot as Yaki making a play for the back line gets hacked. The point actually flips here, though, Mitch. So New York actually gets control.
There's definitely a sense that Hardy is trying to buy time for his flankers and Sparker to get those key eliminations and give the Spitfire player advantage before he takes any risks himself. Kellen forced back here. Ho1's lost that Immortality field. Backbone tries to go for the hack there, but Yaki's going to pull on out of the situation, and he himself has to abscond, but that EMP is ready to rock. And Amp Matrix on the point for London.
Yeah, as you still have the point control for New York. They're going to get rid of Hardy here, and New York going to be able to hold on here in the long run, it looks like, as Kellen going to push forward on the Zarya. So they're not able to, what they tried to do there for a second is we kind of caught it from the free cam, but as soon as the two bubbles got out, Hardy actually tried to push up, make a play on Kellen, knock him back. That's where you saw London get really close to taking the point. But as soon as they're able to kind of heal Kellen back up and get him on the point, it's just so difficult to move off as that Zarya able to put down so much damage compared to the Ryan.
Hardy has 180 damage for the round so far, 5% of his team's overall total, and that's declining, so he needs to get involved. EMP going to start to spite up, but Gangnam Jim's still able to get that Transcendence, and Sparker will peer in from the fringes of the fight and take Flora's head clean off. Okay, overclock now for Sparker. He wants to double down, and Kellen's going to be under a lot of pressure. That's his second bubble used here, and the pressure just doesn't let up. Immortality field will be quickly removed. Kellen tries to go for a grab. Little risky, but Yaki's trying to weave in to the Spitfire formation. Kellen eventually drops to that disruptor shot, but Yaki is still running around the map. It's a Spitfire flip, though, midway through the fight.
Yeah, still, it's a large percentage gained here for New York. You know, you're going to maybe get a kill here on Hardy. Yes, this is definitely something that maybe you get some players off the spawn. You're able to fight this as Flora in the choke just looking for a pick. Kellen coming back. So what do you have here to use if you're the Spitfire? I mean, you have this Shatter. You're going to have to put Hardy in harm's way, though, to get a good one.
No doubt about it. I mean, he wants to be on the point anyway, Matt, to contest and again to buy time. But Flora's going to try and preempt this fight by going for an overclock now and make it a little scary for anyone from London to use that Amp Matrix. Hardy, as we expected, is on the point. That shield is gone now, so you're thinking he's getting closer to wanting to leverage the Earth Shatter. Ho1's been picked off. That's an Immortality field now taken off the table, and Hardy, even with the power steering, isn't quite able to stick that charge, but he's healthy enough. London still control the point, or rather, they are in a position to flip it back, I should say. New York got it for just a moment, but London are back in control.
Yeah, they got to be careful. You know, when they're on the point, like New York basically gets it to the point of capping it, and then as soon as Hardy goes for a charge like that, they end up flipping it. So New York gets a little bit, you know, I think like what 3-4% out of that, nothing major, and you've held on to this Shatter, which I guess at this point is really just a deterrence for like Kellen or Yaki to run at you, right? It's kind of your last saving grace, right? The shield goes, you know, you're waiting for them to come at you and then drop a Shatter.
Hardy cancels the charge there. Gangnam Jim's fallen. Spark is getting so much work done. 43% of his team's overall damage. He's been a constant threat in the flank here. And Ho1 loses yet another immortality field. So now it's on for young and old. And Hardy still held onto this Earth Shadow. Not a good opportunity so far, but he lets it go here. One player knocked down, that was Kellen. He'll be able to pick himself back up and shield. Flora so low, but Hardy couldn't afford to swing that hammer. Admiral's sound barrier comes in a little too late. And another flip here for New York.
Yes, are they going to be able to actually hold on to this, though, to where players are coming back? So, yeah, Gangnam just got that Transcendence. I was thinking maybe he comes in, uses it to try and save Yaki, but they're going to rely on Yaki just to touch. Now they're going to come in with the Transcendence.
Sparker knows he can ignore this Transcendence to a degree, but there's a Doomfist on the scene now for Keller. He's immediately hacked, though. Backbone identifies the key threat in the fight, and that makes it impossible for New York to move on to the point on mass.
It's an interesting approach to kind of deal with that Zarya, which I wonder if it's like something you can repeat depending on map, right? You have that big drum you can kind of like hide behind there in the middle of the point, which like this point, right? You don't exactly have, I mean, you have the walls, right? But still, it's going to be difficult to kind of like circumvent that Zarya. Eventually, Kellen's going to get charged up.
Man, scary stuff from Sparker. Backbone not having to do so much except set up these kills. He gets a pretty healthy amount of damage done in that round, but just the one final blow. The immediate hack on Kellen, though, coming out on Doomfist, really seals the deal. Means he can only amble in the direction of the point. London, again, it seems like they're playing a pretty tricky team comp, and Hardy's not a centerpiece of this setup in terms of damage. He really is key as a fulcrum for this team, though.
He is now they're on Yaki with the Genji, so going with the Genji over the Tracer here, where I thought his Tracer was pretty good, pretty effective there early on, but maybe wants a more high impact ultimate with the Blade.
It's hard to play against the Sombra, though. That hack pretty frustrating for Yaki, not to mention the extra damage coming from Sombra after that ability gets used. Point is available to be capped here, but both teams are happy to take this fight to the high ground. So far, Kellen getting pressured very heavily by Sparker. So much damage coming in from this Sojourn. He'll wrap around the right-hand side but give the cap.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming down from London. That's allowed Ho1 to get an Amp Matrix. So maybe you drop this up on the high ground and you know, flip this point back over rather quickly.
Ho1's done just that here. And the Spitfire back away. They acquiesce here as London set up a power play from that high ground.
Yeah. They got to give it up, right? I mean, you're not just going to power into that Amp Matrix on the high ground. Whoa, wait, what? Oh, I thought he may have knocked some players off.
Well, off the high ground at the very least, yes. I think a boot from Lucio of Gangnam Jin sent him off course, but he's still able to clear the high ground to some degree. He's a little low now, though, and that immortality field has to be used to keep him up, and Hardy knows he's done if he doesn't charge. Damned if he does, or damned if he doesn't. London get 21%, but now it's back under the Excelsior's control.
Yeah, and this is where I can think New York can really start to, you know, rack up a lot of percentage, start taking, like, really kind of like snowball this point is, how do you push this Reinhardt right into that Zarya? When the Zarya is going to have the double bubble, you're going to have Blade here to be able to use, right? You can bubble even, you know, Yaki going in on the Blade, bubble yourself, right? You can really make this difficult for London to press in.
At least you can play out of the choke fairly comfortably, right? You don't get stuck in there as opposed to, you know, like a non-static shield tank. London able to get out, but maybe that's part of the plan here for New York as they set up this high ground. Blade for Yaki, but he was hacked, and Flora also going to be affected by that ability. The immortality field came down from Ho1. It's going to be a sound barrier again from Gangnam Jin, but the Spitfire are healthy enough despite the loss of their Sombra. Backbone's job is already done. He's making the switch to the obnoxious May, and Sparker now can get his hands dirty down on the point. Hardy strikes as Flora falls, and the Spitfire, they're able to bring it back.
Yeah, and if you're going to play for, you know, a rush style, big and sustain, right, add the May into the mix, right? Split players off, you know, does pretty good damage even with the left click, the primary fire now. Just a nuisance to this Genji. So maybe you just weren't getting the most value at that point out of your hacks and your EMP. So, see, London just trying to figure out which route they're going to take.
Overclock for Flora. Sparker punishes him and he's furious about that. So frustrating to be shut down in the middle of your own power play. And yeah, Spotlight well and truly stolen there by Sparker. And the hits keep coming as New York have to sheepishly give all this ground away.
And that's Flora's overclock, right? He comes around the corner. They're thinking he's going to be able to open this up by getting a pick. And does not find one. Just Sparker with a beautiful shot long range. As Hadi's able to check if they're coming from that direction. Quickly rotates.
Blade from Yaki. Immortality Field a little bit too slow to keep Sparker alive, and Yaki's able to get rid of that now. Couple extra Blade slashes means good damage on the rest of London as very quickly New York get back in control. But again, we linger on the Sparker point because right now he's accounting for more than half of his team's kills on this Sojourn.
And how worried are you about this flip if you're London, right? You know, you can get the speed boost back in. New York's going to get to about a tie game here, probably take the lead. But you do have a lot more ultimates to use here. Still really not a great value from this Shatter, but you're going to be able to get probably, with the way Sparker's playing, at least a kill off this overclock.
Yeah, or just pressure on Kellen. He doesn't even try to get the kill necessarily there. Sparker in a position here to make use of this overclock, and there it is. Gangnam Jin falls in midair thanks to the Amp Matrix. London, though, surprised they don't start capturing sooner. Could be the lingering threat, I guess, of Flora on that high ground, but eventually Sparker drops down and gets the job done. It's 79, plays 94.
Yeah, you did have an Amp Matrix there on the high ground that actually had a really good point of view of the point, so that's probably why they don't jump down right away, but they get a late kill here on a Ho 1, so they're going to have to wait up, and that's a beautiful Mei wall there.
Flora down, caught there by the Mei play. Backbone as a blizzard now. Yep, they're speeding. Gangnam Jin takes a ton of damage to him. He's got to back off, and Hardy's now splitting up the team. To the high ground, I think Yaki went, but Backbone has a wall, and then a blizzard, and then a whole gamut of other resources to slow it down, but it's not even necessary. The London Spitfire take it away. A close fought battle there with a Reinhardt composition that honestly seems at a paper disadvantage, but it pays off. Sparker ends with 14 final blows of 28. What a showing for 3 deaths on this Sojourn.
Yeah, as it looked like Yaki was maybe going to make a play for the high ground, thought some of the players on the low ground were going to be able to contest, but beautiful Blizzard Mei wall combo there from Backbone to seal the deal for London.
Good start for London, but New York have got plenty of fight in them by the looks of things. Curious to see how the rest of this series unfold. And there's only one way to find out about that, is to stick around for Map 2 coming up next. Yeah, there it is. Hands are chalked, feet set, up comes the bar, and it's a bona fide deadlift for Sparker on the first map of this series. 14 final blows for 3 deaths out of 28 final blows in total, of course, for Sojourn on Busan.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, "Where's he going with this?" But then I was like,
well,
lift,
there's going to be a reference to like how the glutes are used to perform a deadlift, but I was like, that's just a bit weird. I've said it now, but that's fine. You know where I was going with that.
Anyway,
but,
dude, he was shooting sick on the Sojourn, right? A few times, he was able to catch out Flora, or like even just go on like a little bit of I wouldn't even call them blanks, just taking off angles, right? And being able to find some picks. But you saw Flora's reaction when he died as soon as he popped the overclock. I mean, that one really sealed the deal. Started to swing things in London's favor in that round.
Yeah, obviously tough one for Flora there. The Baptiste really helping with that Sojourn's efficiency, right? Not only, of course, your primary fire, which is deadly enough in its own right, getting amped through that amp matrix, but you just need to body shot with those railguns to inflict lethal damage on many heroes in the game. So very, very difficult to deal with, and you saw both teams position to respect the amp matrix from Ho1 and Landon respectively quite a lot. So, yeah, no substitutions here, right? Hardy stays in, makes you wonder, okay, are London going to continue to stick to their guns here? I like to DPay sort of shout out to Christopher, Coach Christopher here, and what he's been cooking up on the side of the Spitfire. It's been pretty good. It's set them on a course with a top 6 finish this season, which is just bonkers, by the way. That's me casting my endorsement for Coach of the Year. But New York, again, want to bounce back here on Paraiso.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Christopher's done an incredible job with the London Spitfire throughout the season. I also think with the awards, like, it's kind of like I think everybody has their own interpretation to it, right? Like,
that's what I said.
Is your coach of the year the coach of the best team, or the coach that you thought did the most with the least, right? Or is your MVP the best player on the best team? Is it about like consistency? Is it about for my opinion, like MVP is like if you remove this player from this team, they become significantly worse.
Well, you got a lot of MVPs, Matt, in this league. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's also true. It's a lot of MVP potential options.
No doubt about it. So moments away here from diving on into Paraiso. It's going to be the London Spitfire on the attack. They have the May still here for Backbone, and that wall has been causing a number of headaches for New York, who have Yaki on the Genji once more.
Well, New York was playing the previous map. That is a speed boost straight to the point. Now they will be playing out of the position of power here, the London Spitfire.
Okay, they move straight on in here. Backbone walling up that high ground, making it hard for the New York Excelsior to transition to the low ground. And there it is, Sparker. He strikes first. Ho1's head ripped off his shoulders. That's a good start here for London. Now the follow-up's going to be there. Backbone may be down, but that's a cap. London, these guys are unhinged.
I mean, they ran straight to the point. The few picks. Kellen trying to work that high ground. Maybe thought that somebody else was going to be able to touch, but not even an attempt there to get on the point for New York. So, and not ideal for the New York Excelsior. Is this will be Backbone now going over to the Sombra. I think the Sombra at this part of the map is like way better at accessing some of that high ground, right? Kind of like going on these long routes. Would be really difficult on the May because like there's a lot of high ground that they can take. The May wouldn't really pose much of a threat, even with the wall.
Backbone though lives up to his name now by playing a facilitator in Sombra. Going to play from behind. A lot of information being handed over to the Spitfire.
Bro, they are marching this down the street, though. I just got to say, New York did not really put in an attempt to take, checkpoint A on defense. Like, look at where this card is at right now. A little bit of progress, and then a fight kicks off. I mean, you're looking at London being able to take this with a one fight.
Flora having absolutely none of it. Stone cold expression on the face there is, again, he really wants to try and tighten up in this particular map. Backbone deciding, who do I hack here? I mean, do I pressure Zarya Bubbles? Do I try and hack whoever goes after the Ryan? Kellen has a Graviton Surge already.
This is such a bizarre map to play Reinhardt on as well. I mean, you can see the verticality of the high ground. Like, they're just kind of like running around. Yeah, it's okay, well, I think we'll just kind of get Hani up here on the high ground now.
My God, and Matrix as well. Okay, they're trying to take New York's territory for their own. Very
That's the grab, though.
That's Yaki's head with a hole blown clean through it. Sparker moving up there. That grab gets absolutely no value, and this is about as close to tilt gameplay as you're going to see. New York struggling to deal with this really off-the-wall style of play that London are bringing. Kellen's just going to have to get frog marched back to spawn by the scruff of his neck, Matt. This is unreal.
And I think maybe they thought that the Blade was going to come in with the grab, potentially. Instead of like the sound barrier coming out though, like preemptively a little bit earlier, they hold on to that sound barrier. They actually end up using the immortality field, and then the disruptor shot from Sparker just drops it right at his feet, which kind of like deters Yaki or anybody else from coming in. So this has been quite ugly for New York.
Yeah, so for those maybe who are still getting Paraiso games under their belt, this is out of the ordinary in every way possible. Hardy with a gigantic shatter, and oh! He almost lands the pin there for a second. It looked like it happened, but he has 2 fire strikes now, and one of them is used to give Gangnam Jin a proper singeing. Another 1-5 for the Spitfire, and over 4.5 minutes to work with. This is crazy. They've circumvented the whole second part of the map.
Yeah, and they go back to the May here because there's a good opportunity to get, you know, a wall, split players off, and maybe just get one more kill to seal the deal. I mean, Sparker's going to be able to find Flora yet again at range. And he's got the overclock. I mean, you know, they try and traverse this and make a play. I mean, that's a beautiful May wall.
Yeah, a couple seconds it buys the Spitfire time to drop that high ground, right? So they're no longer subject to the amp damage. Frustrating for the Excelsior because they wanted to catch them off guard. Fully charged rail here for Sparker. No connection. He has overclock available though, and he's eyeing off some juicy morsels on the other side of the map here, Matthew. Again, the Spitfire group up to the high ground.
So let's see if they can come around this corner here. I mean, they have an amp matrix to set up, right? This is going to be the Blade. Sound barrier for response. Deflect immediately, and Backbone slaps Yaki back down. That's another key ultimate out of the arsenal here, and Sparker's gone for the overclock. Ho1 absolutely smashed by it. Sparker able to surround through this small room, and remember, Backbone has a May wall. He's going to throw it down. And, oh, man. This is absolutely brutal. This is not a David versus Goliath match. This looks more like an extinction event. So C9, really, Landon? I mean, he
in the chat.
Back.
Come on.
I mean, he actively knocked him away from the points. Not exactly a C9. This is kind of painful. This has not been the start that New York is probably looking for in this series, and it's kind of like, I mean, it's surprising, but also not surprising. Like, New York, it seems like they've just kind of like selected what they deem to be the meta, but it doesn't really look like they have like a great idea of how to play it. Where London, no, this composition is quite odd compared to some of the things we see other teams play on this map, but you can tell that they know they're very decisive in how they have to play things to make it work, where they need to go, how to operate. I think you're way better off going with a strategy like that than kind of like, well, hey, here's what people are playing in scrims, let's just play that and see how it goes, which kind of seems like what we're seeing from New York.
Still early days yet, but we all witnessed just now the second fastest attacking time on Paraiso in Overwatch League history.
What was the first?
Incredible pace. I don't even want to know. Honestly, it's just going to make me feel bad for the team on the receiving end. I already feel terrible for New York. Very maudlin vibes over the Excelsior camp after that round, but they've got to turn this around, and starting with a pick on Widow wouldn't hurt.
So what does he go to? Does he play? Yeah, okay, so we're going to go to the Genji here, where they start out defense, London, with the Sombra here, which is interesting since on offense they were with the May here at the start, but I think they're really just kind of like trying to bait New York in, maybe get a early hack and then finish the player off. As Kellen now moves away from the Zarya, he'll go over and play the Winston.
A natural look for Kellen. Dive tanks definitely his bread and butter for quite some time. Again, tough to play into a composition that has this immortality field. Yaki's been picked off by Hardy. Kellen, though, eventually is able to break through. Can he stick the landing, though, is the question. Gangnam Jim has great follow-up there, and he just knocks heads together as he gets 3 final blows.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not the type of positioning that London wants to take there against a Winston, right? You had 3 or 4 players inside that small room. The immortality field goes out of the way fast, and Gangnam Jin and Kellen are the ones that are able to open up this point. So a really fast point A take for New York, and look at this, they'll have Hottie switching over and playing the Zarya.
With this, Gangnam Jin single-handedly more than doubles New York's final blows for this map with that opener. Great looks, he knows exactly where to be. Fantastic instinct, and now New York have managed to break free of that first point already. Let's see how they handle the Streets phase. Hardy's on the Zarya.
Yeah, this is a little bit more of a defensive setup for London, and the Zarya works really well in these types of conditions where, you know, Kellen wants to make a play for the back line, right? You can use one bubble, you can use two bubbles, you can gain tons of charge, and before Kellen knows it, you know, he's not been able to take anybody out in the back line, and then you have a fully charged Zarya running at the rest of your team.
Okay, Hardy. Bit of a new look from him. Again, New York playing very differently to the way London did on the attack. It's less positional, more about that dive coordination and eliminating these key targets. Cards made a lot of progress here, though. Eventually, London have to intervene, but the tempo's being taken out of their hands, so to speak, as Kellen dives in first. Landon goes for an amplification matrix, though, and Ho1 and the rest of New York are going to acquiesce and give some ground.
Yeah. You don't want to just push into that amp matrix. You have a ton of time here. You have a nano boost to work with now. You can nano Kellen. Yeah, they send him up to the high ground.
Landon in danger, big danger. Hack on the Winston, but it's going to have to be an Immortality field down to the Primal Rage, and Kellen gets rid of Landon. Flora, in the meantime, removing Admiral, basically takes away London's chance to stand a fighting chance here. Great attack from New York. Excellent time bank to go to the last phase. 5 minutes 20 on the clock.
Yes. It looks like one player still behind here. Oh, you have Kellen. You have Hottie in backbone.
Do not EMP. Do not
stuck out here. So that'll just be a quick reset. But man, London has looked clueless now with New York rolling down the map, as New York with an opportunity here. You know, the sound barrier, blade, overclock, like they could set an even better time, which is crazy to say.
Very quickly, requesting a feature that the translocator will get a final blow if someone's standing on it when you teleport to it, like Unreal Tournament. That's the throwback I'm looking for.
Like an insta-kill.
Yeah, like it was called Telefrag.
Yeah.
Good times, good times. There goes Kellen. Sparker trying to keep distance. His slide isn't up yet right now as he's doused with a biting grenade, as two other players on the Spitfire are. They're struggling. Matt, they are struggling. Struggling to hold on to this high ground, struggling to slow the cart, struggling to pressure the back line.
They're getting bullied back. Yeah, they're getting bullied right now by New York, as they do have an EMP and they have grab and sound barrier, but look at this. I mean, the payload rounding the corner to the finish.
I can't believe how fast this has been. We just had the second fastest attacking time. This might be above it even. Hardy's able to take down Flora, but Landon's Immortality field has gone, and Yaki, he's looking for blood. That disruptor shot's going to make it hard for him to advance, and Landon's able to catch him as he tries to back away. New York having the faster time potentially denied, but still brimming with confidence here, Matthew. A good look for New York.
Yeah, and what's huge there for London is they didn't actually have to invest the EMP there, just sound barrier with that blade. Yaki actually gets hacked by Backbone at the start, then some nice Zarya bubbles on top of the blade, and the the beat and the Immortality field are able to keep everybody alive on through that. So they hold for now. They do have some ultimates coming online. London, maybe you can actually get a long hold, yeah.
Hacked, so no primal opportunity. He did have a chance to get it. That was what Kellen was playing for. Go in with Nano, build up primal, and then do what he did last time. No chance for that, but the cart's been sneaking in. Hardy's forced to drop off the high ground, and he's pretty low. Sleep dart there. He'll rest this off for the time being as an EMP thrown out defensively to catch Yaki and Gangnam Jin. It's a very close fight, though. Hardy does fall. Spark is forced to go for the overclock here to try and peel Flora away from the objective, and it works, but it's a big investment.
Yeah, they got fortunate here, London. I thought when that sleep comes in and Yaki's able to pick up a kill or two, that I thought that was going to be it, that New York was going to get the card over the line, but not just yet. As Admiral, by the way, it had the sound barrier for the Yaki blade and used it last time. Already 90% to another sound barrier. I mean, just filling up these beats so fast.
Kellen again, goes straight in. This time, he has that primal and he's putting the pressure down on Landon, who at least benefits from the sound barrier, meaning Kellen takes half of his health and damage before he gets anything done. Now it's a matter of trying to pressure Hardy down and cause some disruption, and so far, so good on that note. He forces Hardy away from the rest of the team and the cart, and it's a full 5 squad of New York starting to push in now. Admiral trying to stall up against the Nana, and Ho1's able to get the Nano boost over to Flora, who looks to try and make short work of the remainder of the Spitfire. Backbone the only one to find a kill, and eventually New York are going to get home. It's close, but still a decent lead for London after New York were posturing for an even faster attacking time.
Yeah, still New York looks way better playing the Winston-based compositions. It makes you wonder like why we saw them even pull out the Zarya here, where you see they force London onto the Zarya, and Hadi, I don't think, is as comfortable on Zarya as you would say like a Reinhardt or a Winston. That's kind of where if you were going to play the Zarya and commit to her for London, you'd probably have Poco in the game, as they talked about on Watchpoint. So really good offense there from New York.
And again, London getting a little bit, I guess, getting their wires crossed a little bit as they try and defend there. The pace from New York. Maybe Hardy's expecting just to face Zarya from start to finish. The Winston is, throws a wrench in the gear, so to speak, then they have to adapt the way they play. And for Ryan, it's pretty annoying to try and respond to where Winston is probing towards his backline. Still, London want to play it again. They have a chance to run it back, and I'm curious to see how they adjust again to the pace that New York were able to bring there.
So now with London on defense here for first point, going to go with that same composition again. I wonder if you end up, do you end up just backing up, fighting a little bit more for the point as opposed to kind of staying and fighting in that choke? You can't allow Kellen to corner like 3 of your players inside of that small room yet again. I mean, that is going to result in New York taking that first point. You got to play this a bit differently.
All right, eyes peeled for any adjustments from London here. Hardy backs away early, so giving a fair bit of ground, knowing that Kellen will test that opening. Sparker obviously aware of the chance of him getting dove or shot in the head by Flora, so being pretty cagey around that corner. Kellen boot back though, he finds no purchase yet.
He's trying to work for the outside here, just trying to find some players.
Oh my.
Another first pick. You see, just jumps out right away because as soon as they get that advantage, that's when they get Hadi back in the mix. So some more kills coming in here from London towards the end, where New York doesn't really result in getting anything there. So good first defense here from the Spitfire, and nobody really close in terms of building up these ultimates. But with a minute to go, you're really looking at like 2 good more attacks here for New York.
Tells you how much New York emphasize having Flora in the fight. As soon as he gets picked off, everybody just pulls out. It's a full-scale retreat. Another dive, another disruptor shot to try and ward the Winston away, but Flora catches Backbone there. Backbone unaware of the potential of him just getting smashed by the railgun as soon as he comes out of invisibility. Flora now wants to work the backline. Great focus on the immortality field. Spark trying to dodge, zip, duck, dive, and dodge away from that, but it's not enough. Hardy shield up. Disruptor shot thrown in, giving him the hot foot now as Flora tries to go through the barrier. And Spitfire will be cleaned off here, but much of the time bank for New York has dwindled.
And you see how important it is to have Flora in these fights, right? He opens things up with that first pick. So we've seen a lot from the Sojourns in this match thus far, whether it be Flora, or more often than not, Sparker being able to open these fights up with that early pick-off. So 45 seconds on the clock here. Not going to have London switch over to that Zarya. They're probably going to try and play really close here at the gate.
Yeah, this time not electing to play the high ground and give a lot of the map over. This means that for Kellen, he has to dive over Hardy and potentially not be joined by his ground-born teammates in doing so. Hardy having to play a little bit like he did on Busan, right? Just kind of be a pivot point, try and contest the card, and just hope his teammates can have enough time as a result of that to find kills. Pretty risky stuff. A lot of trusting your teammates required for that one, and there's no trusting a corpse as Flora lays landed low.
I mean, that's a huge pick. Now you get Yaki, but Sparker answers back with 2.
He's one though so low. Yeah, Kellen's able to run him over there just as that overclock came up. Still, good looks for London, Matt. They've got plenty of time to reinforce here.
A Blade available, though, for New York. Blade plus Sound Barrier. So if they come in with EMP, kind of Sound Barrier after, maybe trying to avoid to keep players alive. Oh, and that's an early pick-off on Yaki. He actually gets hacked there on the high ground.
Hardy's contesting, and he has the Shatter. It's only the Winston bubble that could block this. So Hardy now just being patient, being careful, looking for the time to strike. That shield is low, he'll have to drop it, but he's more than happy to jockey back for the moment. Here it is, that's the Shatter coming down. Gangnam Din is caught, it's going to be the immortality field bought out, but no, it's perfect from Hardy. Just what the doctor ordered, if the doctor wasn't interested in saving lives, that is. Beautiful finish from Hardy on the tank. Look at that kill feed.
And it's so unfortunate for New York. They're not able to get any use of that Blade. You know, Yaki has a Blade. They're setting up the high ground, opportunity to like beat plus Blade. They don't have Sound Barrier yet. And I think he gets hacked by Backbone, and the Amp Matrix is up there on the high ground. I wonder if he takes like a big hit of damage as well from that. You know, maybe it's literally just one, Baptiste burst fire, and then the hack with the bonus damage with the Sombra from behind is... Now you get that Blade off, it may look like a completely different offense.
Huge moment from Backbone there, who's getting a ton of value on the Sombra. And again, we knew if he had to swap to the May, then that's just as deadly. We know how quick London are at attacking this map. We know how good they've been at taking New York by surprise. Having 3 minutes and 20 seconds to work that same kind of nefarious magic probably suits them just fine.
So London comes out here potentially with this Zarya look, which is interesting because their offense with the Ryan and the May looks really good. Maybe they just feel like that if you came out with that, it's good enough to get point A, but maybe not effective against this Winston as you move in towards that streets phase, because they do have a way to push the cart. Like, New York did gain pretty good progress there in that second part of the map.
3 minutes, 19. Here they come, Backbone on the window early. Oh, Gangnam Jin, you, my friend, are dicing with death. He's able to avoid that shot. Zarya instead of Ryan this time for London. They've got a different approach ready.
Yeah, and, it'll be Hani who boosts himself up to the high ground. Just trying to put some damage down there. Maybe he can dislodge some of these players who are just kind of holding inside of that room.
All right, here we go. Bubble used there. Not enough. Yeah, he probably needed 2 bubbles to deal with that onslaught. Ho1 is taken down, though. A long walk back unless he's taxied by Gangnam Jin, so at least some blood is drawn by London, and there's an opening to exploit here. 1 tick, by the way, on the point, just quietly for free.
Not entirely for free, right? I mean, you lose a ton of players, you end up losing the fight. You're going to give up about 45 seconds or so. But Hadi ends up going up to that high ground, has both bubbles. I think the reason he's not able to make it out, it looks like he's trying to make his way back, but that disruptor shot with the slow, I think, prevents him from making it around the corner. But with players coming back from New York, it's opened up a little bit more space for London here to operate.
Backbone's trying to position so his hack isn't interrupted by someone, firing from the high ground. Yeah, he's holding onto that. Okay, so London don't have everyone in position right now. If they actually win here, it'll be quite surprising. Yaki, pulse bomb here, but he's already recalled. He's going to have to wait a moment to get value there, or not. Spark is just going to sleep, and that's going to be thrown on top of him. Quite the rude awakening, I must say. Now Hardy will be dueling with Kellen, who is extremely hale and hearty. Control the space on the high ground, and London are staggered somewhat. We'll have to go once more, but Landon with 2 kills. Another opening created here.
He's going to end up dropping, though. This has looked kind of ugly from London. When they have had to move away from that Reinhardt, it has not looked pretty. So the Zarya in play yet again, still going to try and take some of this high ground control. It's possible that they feel that Grav and EMP are 2 large ultimates that are essentially fight winning, and that they only need 2 fights. That you can play a little bit safer here, but it is not good this far.
He got the hack on Kellen, but Kellen got nanoed. Still hacked though, and ooh, this Amp Matrix. Kellen wants to push ahead of it here, but eventually has to go the other way. Back to defend. London are happy enough forcing that out, apparently, as Landon's Amp Matrix is now down, but there's an EMP on the horizon. There it is. Yep. Flora,
and they just run him down. Yeah, I mean, that's the right call there. You don't need to get a huge EMP. That's going to be a sound barrier in response here to the Primal.
Yeah, Primal's scary inside that small room, but all the while, there's someone on the point here. I think Backbone, he's standing on the point, starting the cap, and there's no one from New York who feels comfortable enough to peek this. Oh, Yaki, the pulse bomb thrown in there, but Landon had that immortality field in play, and he's not able to get rid of it in time. Didn't quite stick the Landon, so to speak, but it's going to be a minute for London Spitfire now to make it to the box of victory.
Yeah, as the cart come out of the garage, he'll start to get around the corner, and I mean, you have the overclock here still, and you have grab. So, Yaki's so far behind. Is he going to be able to make it out? I mean, they're trying to chase him down and go for this hack. I mean, this would be, like, dreadful if he falls. I mean, look at how far back he is right now. So they grab the other side of the map here.
Yeah, New York trying to buy some more time, I think, with this aggressive play.
Yeah.
London, though, kind of molded by this style, so probably happy to deal with it, but they're being spawn camped now.
Yeah, and maybe it's because they just chased Yaki for so far that they kind of like left the rest of the team here alone, as Hadi now is going to go over to the Rhine with 10 seconds left. New York looking for a spawn camp.
Some adornment there on the payload as Sparker was felled on the objective. 3 seconds left. There needs to be a touch here from London. Backbone's able to get there in time, so we have an overtime. Hardy charging forward here. Backbone almost gets taken out, has to translocate out, and Kellen wants to try and keep them in spawn. He might give up his life for it, though. Risky business for Kellen, but he's able to just get away. Now London can move up to the card. There's going to be an amplification matrix in play for Landon. That's used to help them get out of spawn. Still tricky stuff though, as Yaki has another pulse bomb. He spots Backbone, forces the translocate, landed in his sights once more, and Admiral's trying to ward Yaki away from that backline. There's an EMP up, this could be big, the stick isn't there. Landon gonna stay alive now as Flores trying to press his way into the backline, but here's the EMP. Oh, it's an EMP, all right. 4 players hit by that one, maybe even 5, as Yaki's not able to blink away. That is the perfect answer for London, and they'll have a crack at winning the map here.
Yeah, and you look at what New York's got coming up. It's going to be a hack on a Gangnam Jin. His Backbone trying desperately to finish him off. Looks like he's going to be able to live.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble.
Get it. That's huge. Because now you're going to have one more fight. Yeah, and you have sound barrier here.
Flora touches, but that's about all he can do. Over the top comes the Winston, and Kellen tries to harass the backline, but he's got to stay on the cart. Sound barrier now for Admiral. The London Spitfire are looking very durable as Flora falls to a fire strike, and Kellen's trying to flail ineffectively. The Spitfire take a ridiculous second map win here against New York. Hard-fought battle in Paraiso, and you better believe they're happy with a result like that.
It's wild that New York was even still in it with how good London's first offense was, but they battle back. It's just not enough in the end. And yeah, Gangnam Jin thought, I think he thought like once he made it out originally that he was going to be fine, and just kind of waits for a second, but Backbone with a smart re-challenge able to take him out.
Hard-fought battle this one is, these two teams. It's a bar brawl if I've ever seen one in Overwatch terms. But New York, they need the next map win, otherwise this series is prematurely, in my opinion, gonna be over. So stick around, everybody. London are looking fire. The clock is ticking, that's right. There's no better time than now to celebrate the Countdown Cup legendary skin, Clockwork Zenyatta, on sale now for just 300 League tokens in the new Overwatch League shop in Overwatch 2. Free aimbot, just quietly, kind of fire. Great to see, again, I mean, looking back over the year, Matt, it's all our sort of legendary skins from our stages, some really unique pieces. Great to sort of have, you know, some Overwatch League memories and references immortalized in the game. Big fan of this one too.
The Clockwork Zen is such a sick skin. I've been playing support even, you know, rocking that. That's how good it even is. That tells you something.
Okay, I mean, yeah, anything that gets Matt to play support is good in my book, ladies and gentlemen. You're not placed in support yet though, right?
Nah, dude, I've been popping off. Shout out game producer Bree. Shout out Ben Troutman. We've been farming.
I tell you what, I'm quite liking how quickly, you know, you sort of jump up ranks right now in competitive. As I've been able to get back pretty much where I was.
Well, I'm sure when
Bronze
it's
5,
like,
so it's been good.
I was saying when it's like you and you start in Bronze 5, I'm sure it's pretty easy to
yeah, start Bronze 5, jump all the way to Bronze 3. I'm feeling like $1 million right now, Matthew. I tell you who's feeling pretty darn good. Dollar signs on eyes for this London Spitfire team. Again, a win here solidifies their spot in the playoffs proper. And man, they've been putting on a show for us.
I feel like that New York, just a little bit better execution there, and we're kind of sitting at 1-1. Like, I think London, obviously, they played really strong in their first offense, but I feel like outside of that offense, like the rest of the map was really all New York. It's just, they kind of just beef it at the end, where you got to wonder, like, where the confidence is at with New York here, you know, after a tough loss like that.
Yeah, frustrating. We saw the expression on Flora's face and much of the New York squad after that crushing map 1. Map number 2, though, was arguably more demoralizing for them as they really turned up. They put on a show on offense, just got ground down towards the end of the map, but London again reinventing themselves, or at least just showing us some side to them we haven't really seen before. And the Reinhardt play, of course, we know them and love them for already. So great looks for London here. They're showing us they can operate on multiple axes. In a meta like this where, yeah, the consensus is that Zarya is probably the strongest in many cases. They can bring the Reinhardt in. Hardy can play the Zarya if needed. A lot of versatility from him as he played 2 different tanks on both attacking rounds on Paraiso. Keep an eye out for what he comes out on here. I think the defensive dive from Kellen is going to be very interesting. A lot of teams, Matt, we know they like the Zarya here on defense.
The Winston has been, well, I mean, these are 2 teams, right, where, I mean, we've seen Kellen run the Zarya, but this is where London, you know, if you were going to run the Zarya, this is not the lineup you'd probably have in. Where they're going to come out here with this Reinhardt yet again, where, look, when we saw this matchup, New York was definitely getting the better of it, so let's see what London's got cooked up.
So Hardy sees that Winston, he knows that that's what London are going to be dealing with here. He's not too bothered. Previously, he played the Zarya against the Winston. We'll be on the move here now. And Yaki is back on the Tracer. Solo kill master. Yaki is going to have to lift in a big way again.
Or even if you were London, like, this is where you would think about if it was in his kind of a wheelhouse, like playing like a D.Va, right? You see D.Va is really effective against Winston and also can access some of this high ground where obviously the Reinhardt can't really do that. You see Hardy just kind of standing there swinging.
And everyone folds back around the corner. So really similar approach again to Busan. Use Hardy as the contester and then have everybody just respond, play reactively when the initiation comes in. Kellen tries to dive there but gets nothing and up. There it is, Death Taxes, Sparker taking a head off. Can count on that one to strike. And he's had an incredible game so far, Matthew. Here with the bio, into the Immortality field he goes here. Pressure now from Kellen, but Sparker's got to be patting himself on the back when he has a free hand.
Well, he can't put too much pressure, Kellen, because if he goes into that big Earls, and that's where Hardy's playing, he's going to be in a world of trouble. It's a nice shot there from Spark on the Ho1. As I mean, he is dominating today, especially in the Sojourn battle. I mean, Flores had moments, but it's really been all Sparker.
And you can see Kellen trying to put pressure on Sparker when possible, but the Immortality field makes it so frustrating for Kellen to get in and get an easy kill. It takes Winston bloody ages to get rid of that drone on his own. And if it's placed in a good spot, then he's not going to kill it.
Yeah, and he doesn't really have Yaki there to dive and try and make a play, right? They've been so staggered and split in New York where they haven't really had everybody for one fight. So it looks like now they're kind of starting to regroup, slow the pace down a little bit. do wonder, like, are you going to be able to push out of this with how good the Sparker is shooting? Yeah, they put pressure on the high ground, trying to force him back. That's the right play.
He can just slip away. That mobility for Sojourn is potentially one of the most powerful parts of her kit. Someone like Cassie gets dove like that, and it's much more of an awkward scenario. Sparker now able to keep New York at arm's length and has that overclock ready to rumble. Sparkle's Pulse Bomb will have to be nice. Third in the league, tied for Pulse Bomb attach rates. This one really needs to connect here, but Sparker, great job. He gets doused there by Ho1's Biotic Grenade, and that secures the kill.
Yeah, as they use the Nano on Kellen, they get him into the back line, and that's where he can start to make an impact, right? As if maybe the next fight you play a little bit more aggressive, you have that Primal Rage to work with. You can start kind of putting together some stops here for New York. They got to be careful, though. Backbone is able to have been farmed up this EMP already, so see probably maybe an EMP here up on that high ground where everybody's trying to play.
Yeah, London forced in a full-scale retreat there. Both teams tend to be disinclined to fight once they've lost their Sojourns.
Oh, they see Yaki on the flank. I wonder if they try and bait him in to get like a hack and then...
Yeah, I think that's what Backbone's waiting for there. You see him...
Yeah.
He's looking anyway, trying to get a feel for where Yaki will be. What is this? Okay, Artie cancels that one. Force Transcendence. I think we're happy with that one, especially with Flora already taken off the field. Sparker lining them up and knocking them down. That's 2 headshots from these railguns. And Gangnam Jim is quaking in his Omnic boots. He cannot pick that. Admiral just chases him down now. He's the captain now. And Sparker will just inch forward with the cart. So all he has to do is Kellen is not healthy enough to contest, let alone barely get away.
Yeah, I think they knew exactly where Yaki was, and they actually forced Yaki to go all the way back, as now they have the EMP here for the end. This could be massive.
Backbone has to get out. There's a bubble in the way for Hardy, so he'll wait for this to clear. He's stuck, though, and he was already at half health. Great pick off for Yaki. Hardy was looking dangerous. Sparker again chimes in one of these fights with a key kill. And it might be enough. Ho1's already fallen now with 4 out of the picture. Kellen's going to be an issue. The card is 1.62 meters away, and Admiral's standing up. It's the backline for the Spitfire here, taking Kellen to task. Can they force him off the card? It's going to be an out matrix, and Kellen gets cut down. It's a portal combat for the London Spitfire. The backline gets the job done. Stunning finish from Admiral and Landon.
Yeah, as it looked like maybe that EMP after you lost Hardy, it wasn't the best idea, but I think Admiral with 2, Landon with another kill, and then that amp matrix at the end. Once they get Kellen low to seal the deal, so they take that second checkpoint. You still have this shatter. You haven't really found a great spot to use it because, I mean, with the comp that New York is playing, nobody's like lining up. They don't have to play group together. I think you're just going to have to probably take like a solo shatter.
Hardy might be happy enough with that, especially if it helps him neutralize Kellen for a time. Shatter then hack him will mean that he can't jump away. Ho1's got his work cut out from here, Matt. A lot of healing to be done, a lot of teammates to be clicking. Oh, wait a minute.
Where are they sending Hardy?
Wait a minute. He's going upstairs. You can hear this man in the attic. He's like a poltergeist you can't get rid of, but the kind that will rip your house by its foundations up and throw it. We're not in Kansas anymore, New York.
It just kind of sends him up there to take up space.
You're kidding.
That'll be a pin. Oh.
How? He didn't even see Kellen there. Kellen jumped over his head. He turns around and 180 charges the Winston. I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is ridiculous gameplay.
He's still able to live, though. I mean, he gets the nano boost.
He's nanoed.
Still able to live, yeah.
Hardy tried to charge the Tracer, I think.
I think that's what he was going for.
I won't guess, because Hardy is never going to tell us the truth of that one. Either way, that surprised New York, safe to say. And London is still here applying pressure.
Yeah. From our POV, it looked like he was chasing the Tracer. That's a hack there on the floor, and then a kill. The sound barrier here as London's going to try and push up.
Yeah, Sparker now swan dives into that Winston bubble. He had the sound barrier, and Yaki just gets too close. Landon's able to be the one that finds that kill on the end, and Sparker heads upstairs. Another overclock available here. Air Matrix thrown up. Gangnam Jin gets cut down, and there's Kellen falling right in front of Sparker's crosshair. What is Flora supposed to do? Overclock now, plus Air Matrix. A body shot will kill any of those low health heroes. And that is an utter devastating move from London, who just burst to life in that last part of the map. This is some, again, superlatives, Matt, I know, but we don't see this kind of gameplay every day.
No, I think it's good enough to beat a team like New York, but New York even giving them a lot of problems. Like, can you play this type of way against the top, 5, right, in the West and get these wins? Because their dives are going to be way cleaner. They have way deeper hero pools in terms of, what the, tanks and DPS and whatnot can play. I think that's kind of your question with the London. It's like, is this something that you can do game in and game out? Is this something you feel like could be improved upon from the point that it is now, where you could contest that top 5 and whatnot playing this type of way?
Yeah, their own way, right? I remember the jury's out about how it goes up against the current... Yeah, look, oh, he's just out of pocket. He shatters him as well. The boot there's nice as well. They almost catch the Winston. Look how low Kellen is. Pandemonium is reigning here on Route 66.
So New York, with this type of composition, we'll see what Flora decides to do, whether he's going to play the Sombra or the Sojourn. But either way, they're going to have way better access to like the backline and the high ground of the London Spitfire. Like, you're pretty much going to be able to avoid the Reinhardt if you want.
I think that's what Kellen's going to want to do in most cases, right? Hardy needs to generate enough attention, maybe just stall that cart. Look at him. Positioned very far forward here, saying, if you want to move this payload, you must get rid of me. And I'm telling you, it's easier said than done. Immortality Field already used in the backline, though. So Hardy actually has to turn tail and help them out. Kanjim, lucky to be alive there. He was hacked and is able just to get away for now. Sparker picks him off, but New York winning out in the trades here, and Sparker almost gets tased as he lies prone.
I mean, I think this composition from New York is significantly better and stronger than the one that we're seeing from the London Spitfire. I don't know what benefits you get out of the Rhine here unless you get that first pick and you force fights in close quarter areas, but that's not what New York even has to do, and also even if they do get in that situation, have the mobility to get out of it.
London have to work around this Winston as much as possible. Sparker, sort of a shortage of targets for him right now as the sign is getting in his way a little bit, but the card is slow to move. Hardy will get topped up and then likely move to recontest once more. Long-range Bionade hits Landon in the back, but there's an Immortality Field to throw down. He'll be healed up, but Hardy's not getting much attention while Landon is tending to his own wounds here. Keeping the Reinhardt alive is important, but there's no emote left for Hardy. And eventually the New York Excelsior are able to burn the Spitfire's front line down.
I mean, the Spitfire got to switch off of this, right? I mean, you're just dealing with even more high ground, you know, as we move to the second part of the map.
I don't know what to tell you about
as well.
Hardy is trying to secure his spot at the table in Valhalla. He ain't switching.
Yeah, I mean, he's fully committed. Sparker ends up taking out Ho on. Maybe you actually get an EMP here in a fight. Yeah,
okay,
there it is.
The EMP is there, but follow up. Okay, Kellen's going to fall there. Nice job. He's removed, but the backline is... We'll see better days. There is a sound barrier for Admiral here. He'll have to wait till the hack is expired. So there's actually defensive architecture to keep this going for London. Despite New York maybe having on paper a better composition, Matt, getting through this Rhine front line is really taxing.
I mean, this is where the Rhine could actually be effective, right? You know, you could play off of that mega health pack if you wanted inside of the big Earls. You can come out, contest. They have to play in that close quarter area here.
Despite being hacked there, Kellen is able to get rid of Sparker, so eventually London are being forced to give up some ground, but they're burning a lot of clock. 2.5 minutes already. Hardy finds an unlikely charge on the Lucio, and he's still in it for the time being.
London? Nah.
No way. The Winston bubble also makes that extremely risky, right?
I was just wondering if they actually try and fight that and like keep Hardy alive. You know, maybe they get players coming back off spawn, but they have to give it up. And at this point, like, how you're gonna have to play either close, like almost like not say sacrifice the Reinhardt, right, but play him pretty close to make any type of impact, right? Just contest the cart. Maybe you're playing to like burn clock, right? Significant clock burning, you know, just making it, you know, not really intending to stop New York wholly here, but just, you know, burn as much time as possible.
Admiral was struggling to find a chance to use that sound barrier. You're kidding me. This time Flora not so surprised by that. I guess Hardy's the kind of player that makes you believe that the unlikely stuff that Reinhardt can do is in fact just very normal. So Admiral's going to be able to return to the fight with the sound barrier in tow. And Flora being out of the picture slows things up considerably. Yeah, Hardy, look, hard pressed to find a good shadow, right, Matt? You were saying that before.
Yeah, it looks like he maybe thinks that Kellen goes left, kind of goes outside of his bubble a little bit, and you're able to get him. In this type of comp and, you know, matchup, you're not going to get your 3-4 player shatters at this point. This Landon gets hacked. That's going to be Soundbearer that comes out to save him.
He's able to get an Immortality Field down for himself, and Flora's fallen early in the fight again. Overclock yields results for Sparker at long range here. And another fight with the London Spitfire are able to weather the storm. The clock keeps ticking. 2:30 now for New York after that extension. London, though, having spent a fair bit in that fight, right? Overclock sound barrier gets used there. And obviously that shatter coming out earlier from Hardy. EMP, though, could be big.
EMP should be good enough. Yeah, EMP should be good enough to get a fight win, you would think, here coming up. Then you also have an Amp Matrix probably as well. So, are in a position here where I think probably just try and use EMP here. Ooh, that looked like it was going to be a hack. Yeah.
He's done. That would have had me out of my seat if I was sitting in one. Backbone. That aforementioned EMP still looms like a Damocles sword over this next engagement.
I think Hardy's trying to bait them in here. Like, there's no reason to be down there. It looks like they're trying to just bait them in to, like, go after Hardy and then get, like, the EMP.
I mean, he's contesting, my guy. He's happy with that. Ho1's able to get that Bionade off just in time. Oh, the hacked health back from Backbone. That is so impish from him to make it so that couldn't be picked up by Ho1. Backbone is a nuisance, no doubt about it. Trying to work Yaki down. Kellen was so low, but inside his bubble. Backbone couldn't penetrate that defensive layer. But Kellen's got to run. He runs out just as the EMP comes down, but it's enough for Yaki to secure the kill on Admiral. Hardy charging away through that hack, looking to get top back up now, and a shatter is on the horizon once more.
Yeah, how do you battle back out of this here if you're London? It's not entirely super necessary, right? That last part of the map is really difficult to take. I think you just want to try and get them into OT. Nice shatter here onto Kellen.
And a charge to follow it up. Kellen has nowhere to go here. Shatter plus charge, even with the nano boost, it's not enough. Eventually he's brought down and Hardy can return back to stalling the cart. And then YXL, they don't have a lot of durability remaining, but Hardy is getting pressured from the backside. That hack is an issue. He's chilling, for now at least.
So they do end up taking out Hardy, but I don't think you're going to be able to, like, move the cart all the way in off of that. As Kellen trying to make a play for the high ground. Nice boop there by Admiral, knocking him off. But you've lost land, and that's a large source of your healing. And look at this, Hardy now goes over to the D.Va. This is what I thought actually would have been really good against this Winston-based comp. I think D.Va really gives Winston, D.Va really gives just about everybody, but Zarya tons of issues right now.
They're going to go. Overclock here for Sparker, and Sound Barrier lets him get in position. Oh, the Ajax! Gundam wanted to drop the beat, but Sparker drops him instead. That is disgusting. And he still can pressure Ho1 here. Both supports fall to his hand, and yet they still manage to C9. You can't be serious. What is this game? I feel like I'm looking at a Petri dish, not an Overwatch League match. Unbelievable.
That whole, like, 45-second sequence had everything. You know, we had an Ajax, we had a C9, you know, a main tank player playing an off tank. I mean, we had everything there. So the New York's still alive. EMP here for Backbone possibly.
Okay, less than a minute left. That's the EMP you mentioned here, but Spark is able to get under the warming rays of that immortality field. Tough stuff for Hardy, though. He's under a lot of pressure, but Yaki's been picked off, and Flora had to pull the plug on that one. Hack on Kellen, really limiting his mobility here, and Hardy wants to chase him down. Doggedly, they pursue the Winston, put him back in the cage, and the Spitfire are back in control.
I mean, the Spitfire should have never lost control. Now Kellen will go over to Zarya. So this is kind of like a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors duel in terms of the tanks, right? Where, you know, D.Va beats Winston, Zarya beats D.Va, then you probably end up in a spot where London, ideally, like if this were to extend into a longer game, probably you see teams both settle on that Zarya v Zarya matchup, but a Nano available for New York, Amp Matrix available for Landon here up on the high ground.
It's go time, as Sojourn says. Kellen now up to the cart. Here's going to be an Air Matrix in play, but Yaki doubles down. Both backliners fall to the one pulse bomb. And the cherry on top is Sparker's elimination. Oh man, New York have a chance to at least finish the map.
And Yaki actually goes back and ends up taking out Hardy, which may actually allow him to get back into this fight. So, looks like London, yeah, you can wait. You're going to probably get your tank back. You know, maybe get a speed boost out of the spawn. It'll be Backbone to touch. You're going to have everybody coming back. Hardy has a self-destruct now, too.
Kellen has one Zarya bubble left after that from Backbone. Decent start here for London. What can they do? Hardy about to be desuited. It's going to be a self-destruct on the point. Floor is going to be picked off, and that had to be a bubble from Kellen. He's fully charged, but he's so low. Eventually, he gets brought down. Yaki trying to be a Hornet on the point here, but Fly Swatters are being held akimbo by the London Spitfire. Sound barrier keeps him in, and though Spark is going to get hit by the body grenade and has to get under that immortality field. He does just in time. He's back in the fight. Yaki close to yet another pulse bomb. It has to be big, but Hardy shuts him down in time, and that's the series. The London Spitfire outlast the New York Excelsior, securing that 6th spot. They're going straight to playoffs, ladies and gentlemen.
And I would love to see from the replay viewer just kind of like, you know, Hardy gets demeched and they're moving the payload pretty fast down the street, and I think it was Yaki who ends up like doubling back to go kill him. He's on like 1 HP. I don't even think he's like close to getting a mech back. You could have just left him there until he started to like come down the street and behind
he's out
you,
of the fight.
And then right, he's so far out of the fight that by getting that kill, one, you take somebody off the payload, right? So the payload's now got like 2 players, you know, versus 3 or 4, whatever. But you allow Hadi to get a fresh mech, get his self-destruct in the spawn, and then like get a speed boost and get out there and fight at full strength. Where you could have had an opportunity for their New York to like fight without their tank, who had a self-destruct available out in the open. Just seems like a little bit of a miss there from New York.
Tough one. A very small decision there. Yaki obviously so focused on trying to get these eliminations and just get the map done. New York show us plenty of moxie in that series, I think, but London are... It's a mix of absolutely zero respect and utter confidence in their own play style, and it's exciting to see. Honestly, really impressed by what both teams are able to show us there, but London have outdone themselves once more. What an exciting prospect. They've come so far this season, thinking about where the beginnings were and where people thought they'd fall. It's just so heartwarming to see this team come alive in such a big way. Let's talk about a player of the match here, Matthew. Someone that's been pretty unanimous, I think, as far as we're concerned. Your player of the match is going to be Sparker. First of all, just making Flora look like an utter rutabaga out there, just plucking him out of the soil every time a fight comes around. With the deadlift in map 1, and then I think he has at least 14 final blows in the second. He's close to a deadlift in that 3rd map. Unbelievable stuff.
It felt like every time they needed a pick or something, you know, a big play, it was Sparker able to come up clutch. And I think right there, you know, obviously they didn't hold it at the end, but the shot onto Gangnam Jin, they really made a rough series for him playing that Lucio or Zen at times, where he's able to find those pickoffs there, and that one on the sound barrier at the end was massive.
I mean, my eyes just popped out of my head when I saw that one. Gangnam Jin, taking a bit of a risk by beating.
What happened in your eyes when the payload actually went in and completed?
They flew out and hit the opposite wall, Matthew, I'll be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was just, a very ridiculous sequence of events there. London, a little shaky on the landing, but they get it done at the end of the day. And here's Spark is showing 9.6 final blows here, again, per 10 minutes. The series, rather, wasn't that long. That's a big part of it here, but a lot of those charge shot kills really contributing. And many of them were critical hits. That's not a stat we're showing here, but there are a lot of those headshots with the railgun, which are not easy to connect. And half the time he sat behind an amp matrix, Matthew, making it even more easy for him. I think that New York have a lot to hang their hat on in that series. I think they're looking like a vastly improved squad, but you are dealing with a true juggernaut in the Overwatch League. I think we can crown Spitfire in that regard. Can't wait to see more from London now as we head into the playoffs, of which they've secured themselves a spot in. And their match against the San Francisco Shock this weekend will also be very telling about how this team is looking going to playoffs. Yeah. Stick around, everybody. Much more coming your way in the Countdown Cup qualifiers here on your Friday of games. Don't go too far. We'll be back after this.
I'm shooting. I can only shoot on. I'm bottom left. Just Trade. Spawn on me. Nice, boys.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to Watchpoint. I'm Reinforced and I'm joined by Backbone from the Lone Spitfire after a clean 3-0 victory over the NYXL. Congrats, Backbone, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, a nice clean 3-0 win today. And you know, usually we ask about how the match was, how the win was, how do you get it done, that stuff like that. But I'm going to just zoom out because this was a huge win for you guys. You secured your spot in the playoffs. Over the course of the entire season, it's led up to this moment where you secured your spot in the playoffs. And I'm just going to ask you, as part of the Lone Spitfire, you went into this season underrated. No one really expected you guys to, you know, be able to compete at this level. How did you guys, achieve this amazing improvement over this time? How did it all lead up to this moment for you guys?
I mean, I think we got, a bit lucky with the fact that we could at the start of the year play some of the Rhine stuff, like the Rhine Maze stuff, put a couple of us on our comfort heroes, and got some wins we needed then from that. But then the momentum from that kind of snowballed into stage 2 and stuff where we didn't even play Rhine that much. I mean, I was on support, but everyone here is really fun to work with, be around. We're all around each other like 16 hours a day or something like that. Everyone, just the way everyone acts just makes it so much easier to overperform, I think. And they just keep improving, which I think is something that is hard to make. It's either there or it's not.
So I find that pretty interesting because, of course, you mentioned that you started out playing a lot of Reinhardt compositions, but then over time throughout the season, you played a lot of different stuff. Winston, for example, Hadi has had a good Winston so far this season. You played support, stuff like that. What allows the Lone Spitfire to do this? Is it the individual talent? You mentioned, of course, the team chemistry and the trust. It feels just like the environment of the Lone Spitfire is just amazing. Would you say that that's one of the biggest contributing factors to your versatility and your success as a team?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think pretty much every player on our team is underrated as well and can play quite a lot of heroes pretty well when given the chance. But I think the fact that we all trust each other, if in the middle of today's game I decided I wanted to go Hanzo or something, everyone would have trusted me to do it. We all trust each other to make calls like this. It's just we just know that each other know what they're talking about. We have faith in each other, and it just makes it way easier.
All right. So speaking about your hero pool specifically, you're one of, almost like the skeleton key of the team. You can play any other hero you want. You played some Zenyatta earlier in the year. You play Genji, Sombra. We haven't seen you in Widowmaker so far this stage. For the viewers watching at home, watching the broadcast, and they're like, okay, I can play 1 or 2 heroes. I want to learn how to play 3 heroes, and then you're out here playing the entire hero pool. How do you become so versatile as a player? How do you practice versatility versus just studying one single hero?
I don't know. I kind of just play the game, to be honest. When I had to play Zen, I just started playing Zen, and between that and scrims and being told how to do this, how to do that, with coaches helping, that was all I needed. Every single hero I play is literally just. Usually I start playing them because I find them fun. That's how me playing Widow started, and we play me on Widow sometimes because of that. I don't know, I just like playing. I don't really like just only playing one hero for an extended period of time.
So it sounds like there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of gift in there. Would you say that you're UK's gift to esports?
I'm not gonna. You're just putting words in my mouth there blatantly. I'm not gonna claim that at all.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now I do have one quick question, and then we're gonna go. But I have one quick question as well. I had the fortune of spending a lot of time around Brennan's sideshow. The 2 Brits, of course. We shared an apartment together. They spoke so much at length about British food. Bren had Gloucester Grill and Nando, stuff like that. What does British cuisine means to you, and what is something everyone should know about?
I don't know. I mean, full English breakfast, is really good. There's nothing like waking up on a Sunday morning and having a full English breakfast. That's the epitome of England, I think, actually. So if you haven't had a full English, you should probably get on that.
Nothing like some baked beans in the morning. Thank you so much, Backbone. Congrats on the win. Congrats on qualifying for the playoffs, and we'll see you in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Yep, indeed. Thank you so much, Backbone. Take care, and I'll send it back over to Danny.
All right, Reinforce, thank you so much. And Backbone, thank you so much for the great interview. I have a quick question. What is a full English breakfast?
What?
Oh,
no.
Danny, come on.
No.
Danny.
No.
Danny, what do you mean?
All right.
All right, I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But yeah, first of all, let's take a look at this match. I mean, London looked really good, right?
Yeah.
You know, they look clean with that. I mean, I love that they brought out the Ryan Rush couple again. They was very effective.
I do want to sort of give the praise here that it worked well against the New York Excelsior. They didn't really have the answer. They tried playing the Zaya, weren't able to match the pace with just how crazy aggressive Hardy is going into their backline. And then they tried to play that Winston to some mixed success. So yes, the Reinhardt looked good against the New York Excelsior. My fear for the London Spitfire team is they're in the playoffs now.
Right.
They're going up against the best teams in the world, and we're not expecting a major meta shift as of right now into the playoffs. I want them to be careful about sort of cornering themselves because I don't know if this sort of execution will have the same effectiveness against the best in the world.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do think that this is a great niche for them, you know, being able to pull out this Reinhardt, but not necessarily like lean and one trick into it. As we mentioned in the interview, Hardy can play that Winston if he wants to. They can play more dive-oriented compositions, double flex support, stuff like that. They certainly have a lot of options going into the playoffs. This is a great look to show for the Lone Spitfire. It's a great key in their arsenal, but not being able to always just rely on the Reinhardt, it's something we have to give the Lone Spitfire more credit of.
Yeah, I also want to mention, you know, it's just... I had this like shocking moment as we were listening to that interview as I looked down at the lower third and it's New York Excelsior 4-19. Man, like this team is so talented. Mitch, I don't want to hear anything. They genuinely are. And the fact that they haven't been able to sort of string it together multiple times, like that Paraiso was very close. You can see the strength of it. You can see the aggressive style that they like to play and can play. It's just been really disappointing to not see them be able to sort of live up to their own expectations. And they only have one match left in this season. And it doesn't really even mean anything at this point.
Yeah, well, New York, they do definitely have the talent, but, you know, it was a rough season for them. Hopefully they end in a high note because they have one more match like you mentioned. Let's move on and let's talk about our next match. And we have San Francisco Shock versus Paris Eternal. Yeah, this is our next match. I mean, before we go on to the match, I think we want to highlight San Francisco Shock. If they win both of their matches this week, they go in number 2 seed into the playoffs. Yeah. If they win one and lose one, they're number 3. If they lose both of them, which is, I think, highly unlikely, they will end up with number 4 seed. What are your thoughts?
I actually think the seeding has a lot of implications because the way it's going to work is there are probably 5 or 6 very good teams right now, and being able to, if they can secure that number 2 seed, then they get that option to choose one of the weaker teams in their first round because that's how the playoffs are going to work. So this actually has a lot of implications in the playoffs because otherwise you might see, you know, the San Francisco Shock, if they do go 3rd or 4th, they could end up going up against, you know, maybe a Shanghai Dragons. They could potentially end up going up against the Houston Outlaws, which is not a very winnable match right now with how the San Francisco Shock are playing.
All right, Johnny, quickly, what is one thing Paris can do to defeat San Francisco Shock? One thing, just one thing.
Just one, Johnny.
Just one.
One thing they can do to beat the Paris Eternal.
No, the Paris Eternal beat the San Francisco Shock.
They need to play well.
Good thinking.
That is an amazing answer, Johnny. Thank you so much. All right, let's jump right into the game. And for this matchup, we have Jaws and Necra. Hello, guys. I always say everybody.
Hi.
I don't know why.
Hey, what's going on?
I got really distracted.
The person with the dog just ran away.
Yeah, there was a giant, like,
the person with the dog just ran away.
dog behind you guys outside of the truck, and then it got picked up, and
I'm cuter.
like, they ran away with it.
Yes.
No.
I'm cutest.
They're coming back. The dog is coming back. The dog is coming back.
Wait a second.
Oh my God, they're coming back.
There's his dog.
It's okay.
A huge dog. Yay. Yeah, take your hand down.
Sorry? Oh, sorry, did I
It's great.
Oh my God, it's waving
get out
at
of the way
everybody.
as much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh.
Oh my God.
For a brief moment, there it is.
Yeah, our crosstalk was just talking about dog.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck. I think we're done.
Enjoy the match.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. We'll just say bye now. All right. See you later then. See ya. I'm gonna be honest. They have the best work environment possible. They just get to see all the dogs all the time, walking around Blizzard campus.
I'm very jealous, except I have my own
so
dog
sad.
and I have 2 cats, so I feel like I have my own
Oh,
little
okay.
zoo at home. But still, more dogs is better.
I would I would love a dog. Or I'd love a cat.
But you have
maybe.
your fish.
Oh man, it's like apartment life.
Can you not
right? Yeah,
cuddle
I
your
have
fish?
No.
Well, see, that's just sad.
No. I'm just gonna put it out there. Unfortunately,
No, they don't like
not,
swim
no.
into your hand
Look,
and
if,
like, you know, like, you've seen those videos where the fish like swims into your hand and then it like sits around and, you know, like snuggles you?
Yeah, if I put food in my hand and then dip my hand in the tank, maybe some of them would come up and take it from me, but probably not my little reticulated hill stream, which is what I posted on Twitter.
It's pretty cute.
Just a minute ago, yeah. They are pretty adorable, yeah. They have their own little personalities. It's kind of, yeah, it's crazy. You wouldn't think something that small would have its own little personality.
Did
but
you know the sharks have big
I guess we
personalities
better...
too? They're like dogs. They're like big puppies.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a cool video. This is the last
I
talking
promise.
point on pets or like animals, I promise. But there is a cool video on YouTube that I saw the other day of a tiger shark that recognized a diver for like years and years and years, and then COVID happened, and the shark, I assume, missed the diver, and then when the diver came back, eventually, you know, they ended up like reuniting with this this female tiger shark, and they, you know, the tiger shark recognized the human diver, which is really awesome. And yeah, it's really awesome. They do like pets too.
Speaking of sharks, San Francisco Shock, I feel like are going to be the sharks in this match. They smell blood in the water right now. I think they're, you know, starting to ramp up to get those 2 wins the desk was talking about to solidify themselves as 2nd seed. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, it feels pretty unlikely that they're going to lose here today against the Paris Eternal. They do need those 2 wins, and their 2 games that they need to play are this Paris one, and they need to play London. So you'd expect this one to be a dub for the Shock. The London one may be a bit closer. Of course, London are pretty damn happy after that 3-0 versus New York Excelsior. Can the Shock do the same thing? Can they 3-0 London? And of course, they only need the win. There's no real like score line implications there. So just even if it's a 5 mapper, it's all good. But you can almost guarantee Shock are going to win just on the caliber of players playing on the San Francisco Shock. And Paris, of course, having a little rough time this season. Here's your starting lineup on your screen. It's going to be the same old for the Paris Eternal. No swaps around, of course. And you know, this weekend is kind of their final hurrah. They have provided entertainment in the camps,
I was going to say, what is Rack Attack eating? Because it looks really good. And I kind of want to. I love bread.
Is that a whole baguette? Is he just holding and eating a whole baguette?
Isn't that a little ironic? Doesn't he play Brig?
Yeah, I mean, and he's playing on Paris, right? So pretty, I guess, on theme. Nice, I like it.
I love it.
You know, a bit of bread every now and then without anything in it.
Got a carbo load
I
before your big day. Although I think you're supposed to do that at night, but